welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a different kind of road trip, one that explores the top 8 states with the highest rates of homelessness and the strictest anti-homeless laws. These aren't just statistics, they're stories about real people and the policies shaping the places we visit. If you love to travel, it's important to see the full picture, how laws and attitudes affect not just residents, but the character of the cities themselves. This isn't about telling you where not to go, but about understanding what's beneath the surface. We're diving into a tough topic, but it's a conversation worth having. If you want more travel content that goes beyond the surface, please subscribe and help us keep sharing these stories. Let's get started. Our first stop is California, the Golden State. Beyond the glamour of Hollywood and San Francisco, California has the largest homeless population in the country. The contrast is stark luxury homes just blocks from sprawling encampments. Many cities have passed strict laws making it illegal to sit, lie, or sleep in public spaces, pushing people from one block to the next. For those with nowhere to go, these laws mean tickets, fines, or even jail for simply existing. The intent is to make homelessness less visible, but it only pushes people further into the margins. As a traveler, remember, the clean, tourist-friendly areas may be the result of policies that displace the most vulnerable. The debate is fierce. Are these laws about public safety, or are they punishing poverty? California's future will be defined by how it answers that question. When you visit, see the person on the street as someone navigating a system stacked against them. The beauty of a place is reflected in how it treats its most vulnerable. The issue isn't just about policy, it's about compassion. The California dream is complicated, and the story is still being written. Next we head to New York, the city that never sleeps. New York's homeless crisis is often hidden in overcrowded shelters, not just on the streets. The city's right-to-shelter law means beds must be available, but the system is overwhelmed and often unsafe. Recent crackdowns have focused on clearing homeless people from subways and public spaces, using police sweeps. These actions displace people without solving the root problem. There's often nowhere safe to go. For travelers, the crisis is less visible, but it's there, families in motels, people avoiding shelters for safety. The city's approach treats homelessness as a law enforcement issue, not a housing one. The result is fear and instability for those with nowhere else to turn. When you ride the subway or walk the streets, remember, the person sleeping on a bench is surviving in one of the world's most expensive cities. The city's balancing act often leaves the most vulnerable with the least power. New York's response is a reflection of immense pressure and the need for real solutions. The crisis is hidden, but it's everywhere. As a visitor, look beyond the bright lights. The story of New York is also the story of those left behind. The city's future depends on how it treats them. Now we travel south to Florida, the Sunshine State. Florida's homeless population is rising, driven by a lack of affordable housing. The state recently passed a law banning public camping, requiring cities to create designated encampments, but without providing funding. Many cities can't afford these camps, creating a legal mess and pushing people further out of sight. In places that do set up camps, the homeless are segregated, often far from jobs and services. Florida's tourist cities have strict local ordinances, bans on panhandling, sleeping in public, even sharing food with the homeless. These laws create a sanitized tourist bubble, prioritizing visitor comfort over basic human needs. The absence of visible poverty is often the result of aggressive enforcement, not real solutions. As a traveler, remember, the clean parks and empty benches may come at a human cost. Florida's approach is about controlling where homelessness happens, not solving it. The reality is curated for tourists, but the crisis remains. When you visit, look beyond the surface. The story of Florida is shaped by who is seen and who is pushed away. Next, we head to Texas, where booming cities like Austin and Houston are magnets for growth and rising homelessness. In 2021, Texas made it a crime to camp in public with fines up to $500. This law overruled Austin's more lenient approach, sparking political clashes and real consequences for the homeless. Police can now ticket or arrest people for sleeping outside, creating a cycle of debt and criminal records that make escaping homelessness even harder. The justification is public safety, but critics say it scatters people, making it harder for outreach workers to help. The result? More people hiding, fewer connections to services, and a crisis that's less visible but not solved. For travelers, you'll notice more police, more signs forbidding camping, and fewer visible encampments. The clean downtowns are often the result of policies that criminalize poverty. Texas's approach reflects a belief in personal responsibility, but critics argue it ignores the systemic roots of homelessness. The problem isn't gone, it's just hidden. When you visit, remember the policies shaping what you see. The real story is in the lives affected by these laws. Texas's hard line is a lesson in what happens when visibility, not solutions, is the priority. Now to Washington State, home to Seattle's tech boom and one of the highest homelessness rates per capita. Seattle's visible encampments became a symbol of inequality, prompting a shift to regular sweeps and displacement. The city invests in housing and services, but there aren't enough shelter beds, and many have strict rules people can't follow. Sweeps don't solve homelessness, they just force people to move, creating a cycle of instability. For those affected, it's a life of constant upheaval, making it nearly impossible to find stability or access help. Travelers see the effects: cleared underpasses, fenced-off areas, and a city working to manage its image for visitors. The empty spaces are temporary. People return or move elsewhere. Seattle's approach is a high-stakes game of whack-a-mole with human lives. The booming economy has a social cost, and the challenge is finding humane solutions. As a visitor, understand that the city's beauty is shadowed by a crisis in plain sight. The story of Seattle is about more than tech and coffee. It's about how a city treats those left behind. The struggle is ongoing, and the answers aren't easy. The real landscape is shaped by both progress and pain. South to Oregon, where Portland's progressive reputation is being tested by a severe homelessness crisis. Once tolerant of public camping, Portland now enforces bans and plans large, sanctioned campsites. The goal: move people from scattered encampments to controlled sites. But many fear these will become institutionalized zones, far from services and community. There's deep distrust. People worry about safety, autonomy, and losing the small support networks they've built. For travelers, Portland is a city in transition. Visible encampments, regular sweeps, and public debate everywhere. The city's ideals are clashing with the realities of a housing emergency. When you visit, remember the struggle beneath the quirky, welcoming vibe. Portland is asking, can we solve this without losing our compassion? The answer isn't clear, but the debate is shaping the city's future. The lesson here is that even the most progressive places face hard choices. Now to Arizona, where Phoenix's homelessness crisis is intensified by deadly heat. The Zone, a massive downtown encampment, was cleared after lawsuits, with the city investing in new shelters and outreach. But there's still not enough affordable housing, so the crisis has simply dispersed. Arizona has passed laws making it easier to ban public camping and panhandling, giving police more power to criminalize homelessness. For travelers, the crisis is now more scattered, smaller groups in parks and alleyways, and the heat makes every day a survival challenge. Seeing someone on the street in Phoenix this summer is a life-or-death emergency. The state's response is a mix of court-ordered clearings and tougher laws. The pressure is immense. Cities are caught between lawsuits, court orders, and desperate need. When you visit Arizona, remember the extreme conditions many face. The story is about more than the Grand Canyon. It's about survival in the desert. The crisis is changing, but far from solved. Our final stop is Las Vegas, where the spectacle of the Strip hides a deep housing crisis. Hundreds live in storm-drained tunnels beneath the city, seeking shelter from extreme heat and cold. In 2019, Las Vegas made it a crime to sit, lie, or sleep on sidewalks when shelter beds are available, but many avoid shelters for safety or personal reasons. The law is confusing and often punishes people for being poor, not for breaking rules. Critics say the city is more focused on keeping tourist areas clean than on real solutions. For travelers, the contrast is extreme. Luxury casinos next to people being ticketed for sleeping outside. The city's illusion is maintained by pushing poverty out of sight. When you visit, remember the hidden residents and the laws shaping their lives. Las Vegas is a city of winners and losers, and the most vulnerable often lose the most. The real story is just beneath the surface. That's the end of our journey through 8 states grappling with homelessness and harsh laws. We've seen dreams out of reach, crises hidden, and policies that often punish rather than help. As travelers, we can choose to see the whole picture and recognize the humanity in everyone we encounter. This isn't about guilt, it's about awareness and empathy. Thank you for watching and exploring this tough topic with us. If this opened your eyes, please subscribe and join our community. Travel can build understanding, let's use it for good. Safe travels, and remember, every person has a story.